All right, so I want to share a few stuff in relation to the theory and the practical aspect of it. So as a guitarist, or even some of these tips will even help generally, but the focus is on guitar for today. And there are a few things you have to know, especially number one, your practice routine. The way you practice plays a very important role in how your output will be generally. So I'll just demonstrate some few stuff for you to know some of the practice routines. So there are warm-up exercises you do before you start playing the guitar. For instance, you can just shake your hands and just to release the tenders or the tension in your hands so that it will be very easy to play. And apart from the warm-up, you can have one technique for our hands. These two are the weakest. These two fingers are the weakest for a guitarist. So you have to work out on the two. So there's a technique I use where you put those two fingers on the guitar. Then you try to play them consecutively. So maybe, for instance, you can do something like. So the more you do this across the board, you can do it all the way to the end of the fret and reverse it. And you should make sure that your hand kind of bounces, not like it should be bouncing. So if you're able to do this for all the 6 frets, this tool will be very strong for playing generally. So all this warm-up will release all the tensions in your fingers before you play the instrument. Then also, there is this technique where you can apply called how to build your speed. So many guitarists just want to hear something and they want to play instantly if it's very fast. But you need to build your speed from basic BPM and build it up. You can't just start playing fast songs if your foundation is weak. So for instance, you can start something with a major scale that probably you can go like, you'll be using a pentatonic position. You play the slowest you can. So the more you get fluent there, or it becomes very smooth, then you can start increasing your speed to another. So when you're at a particular place and you see that the consistency is not there, don't increase the speed. Work on that side until it becomes very smooth. Then you can so depending on how you build the speed, you can then play effectively. So that is some of the practice routines you can do as a guitarist. Now the second thing I want to talk about, music theory, the relevance of music theory. Every musician has to know much about the theory because the theory is what will shape what you are playing. Many musicians play by ear. So it's like when you start speaking high musical stuff, they get confused because they are not used to that. So some of the things you have to know, rudiments of music. Some of these things are called triads and extensions. So triads are the basic foundation you build your music theory on. For example, you can have a major scale where you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Then the triads are 3 notes built from the 1, 3rd, and the 5th. So do, mi, so will be for 1. Now the second position is 2, which is re, re, fa, la. So you build triads up to the last. So you can have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do built in triads. Those are the basic things you can. And this will easily work for if you're a bass guitarist. Do, mi, so, re, fa. That's how you can build your routine through triads. Then we have extensions. Extensions are building upon the triads. So some of these extensions are major 7, 7th, added 9th, flat 5, sharp 4, all these extensions, it colors your play. But all the foundation is built from the triads. When you get the triad, that's when you can add the added 9th, diminished 7th, and all the other shapes. So you need to work on these things. It's more something like has to be written. So as I said, you build triads from the major scale or any given scale, but the common is with the major scale. So when you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and numbering system will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you cycle 1, 3, and 5, that will give you your first triad. And when you come to 2, you have your 1, 3, 5 system. So always the system will be 1, 3, 5. So re will be re, fa, la, mi, so, ti, fa, la, do, so, ti, re. And it's in that system. So that's the basic thing as a musician, with theory-wise, you need to know. Now I'll talk about playing by ear concept. It's very good to play by ear because naturally when you play by ear, it's like you're flowing from within you. But it's effective if you can play by ear and you also know the theory behind what you're playing. That way it becomes more realistic and relevant. Now I have a sequence I call chord sequence system to help you learn basic chords as a guitarist. This chord sequence is made up of major 7th, flat 7th, added 9th, minor and minor 7th. So I will demonstrate that sequence for you to know how you can know all these chords I mentioned within a possible 1 to 2 minutes. And you would have to work on the shape for each positioning. So if it's a major, you would work on that shape. So I'll demonstrate with that sequence system. So I take a key like maybe C. So that's the major chord. And a major chord is made up of a 1, 3, 5, and you repeat the 1. So that makes every chord is 4 or more notes. That gives you a chord. By a triad, it's just 3 notes. By a chord can be 4 or extended those up to 5, 6 even. So this is a basic chord. C major. So the chord basis is on the first. So the root to the last will give you. So the number system is 1 and 8 because you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So 1 and 8. That is what is making this chord a major chord. So after the major chord, you have a major 7th. If you count the number system, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, ti is 7. So naturally on the major scale, T is the 7th note. So if you play a do and T, you will get a major 7 because that's on the scale of a major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, ti is the 7th note. So you have a major chord, major 7th. So you hear an element of T because I'm playing on a chord 1 or C major. So I'm playing a major scale on 1. So do or whatever you call it. So major 7th. Now when the 7th is flattened, it becomes a 7th. So there's a difference between major 7th and a 7th. The 7th is when you flatten the 7. But major 7 is just a natural position of the 7th note. So major 7, then that is the 7th. So within this shape, you can have a major 7 and a 7. Now I'll talk about the relevance of these chord shapes. The major chord works with choral songs. Most choral songs don't use extensions like major 7s and others. Sometimes the highest they could use is maybe a dominant 7th. So when you have choral songs, will have songs like chords like. You will not hear those major 7s and other extensions in it. But a major 7 shape is used in jazz music. Most of the jazz genres will use the major seventh instead of just the major chord. So hardly will you hear a jazz musician play a chord like that. They rather use this. Then the seventh is used for blues music. So most of the blues songs will have a flat seventh, or you can just say seventh. So that's the for blues music they use this. So that is the seventh, where you have your root and the seventh being flattened. But when you have your root and the seventh, it's a major seventh. When you have root to the root again, it's a major. So major seven, and then seven. So the seventh are for blues. And the major seven works usually with the jazz genres. Okay, now I'll continue there. So when you have a major seven, then a seven, the next shape from the chord sequence system will be called an added ninth. So when you have a major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti is the eighth note. If you want to continue the number system, the next number will be 9. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, and now re becomes number 9. So if you play a major chord and you add the re note, it becomes something we call an added ninth chord. So major 7, now re to the major. This is called an added ninth, and this chord is used for contemporary music, especially the foreign gospel. You hear a lot of. You will not hear this in most of the Ghanaian gospel songs like they will use more of the straight major chord, and hardly will you hear major seventh in Ghanaian contemporary songs like. But with the added ninth, it's very common from great guitarists like Ureku, Hakim, Dominic, Oti, and the others. You hear Ureku. So the added ninth is really used for those contemporary gospel and stuff. And it's in very brief moments that you hear a major seventh or a seventh. But the seventh is used in a very Ghanaian popular music rhythm pattern called the Yamponsa rhythm. So I call that the African blues because, as I said, the flat seventh is used for blues. So that chord shape is a flat seven. So I call that African blues because that's one of the popular blues chord that we use in the Amponsa sequence, which is built from that pyramid you were working on. So that's a seventh, and it gives you that blues feeling. So we have, I'll go back to the chart again. Major 7, added ninth. And all this is being played on C. So all the shapes are played on C. But what makes guitar easy is if you get a major shape, if you want to play C sharp, you just shift your hand. Is that you don't have to change your finger in any other way. So C major, C sharp major, D major, E flat major. It's the same. If you get a major shape, major 7 shape is the same. C major 7, C sharp major 7. It cuts across. Nothing will change. But that's why I say guitar is easy if you have a very good. Now the third chord, the 7.